Hello. Before you pick up your hammer and chisel, you'll need to mark out your design on your piece of stone. Let me show you a couple of ways to do that. That's the proportions of the piece of stone that I've prepared. Let's get some text ready to go on top. So we could just place the text and more or less fill the space, but it's a fairly heavy style of lettering that I'm going to carve here, and it all seems a little bit claustrophobic. The text comes quite close to the left and right of the stone, and it just feels a little bit, there's too much. We need to reduce the size of the text and leave a little bit of space around the outside. If you imagine it like the pages of a page in a book, we need some margins, and usually the bottom margin on a page is slightly bigger than the top margin, and those are the sides. So that leaves us the space in the middle where the text will go. Let's put some text in place there, and that's a little bit better. It feels a little bit more roomy around the outside, gives us some space for the text to sit in without feeling too tight against the edge of the stone. So if I just remove those margins again, that's what I'm going to carve. The piece of stone is cut to size and just needs to be rubbed down a little bit so the surface is ready for marking out and cutting. I'll just notice that there's a little bit of a mark there that needs to be rubbed down. I used 3 different grades of wet and dry paper, depending on how rough the surface is and how much needs to be taken down. The coarsest is 120 grit. I use various brands. There's Klingspor and Sate. Both are very good. 120 is quite coarse. I'll use that just for that part over there. Then probably go straight for the 400 just to finish off the surface, and that will be ready for marking out. It's called wet and dry paper because it can be used either wet or dry. You'll be using it wet, which just helps to clear away the debris, the dust from the surface. That's nice and smooth, just need to let that dry now, and we'll be ready to mark out the design. Once you've worked out your design on the computer, printed it out, there are 2 quick ways of transferring the design onto the surface of the stone ready to be cut. The first is to use carbon paper and to just trace through the printed design through the carbon paper onto the stone. This is handwriting grade carbon paper rather than typing grade. I'm not sure what the difference is, to be honest. Slide a piece of carbon paper shiny side down, ink side down, underneath your design. Make sure it goes all the way enough so that the entire design is covered. And then just with a pencil, trace over the letters. The steadier your hand, the better, the smoother the lines will be on the stone, ready to cut your letters. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing because I'm going to show you a quicker way of getting a really good transfer of your design onto the surface. Just do a couple of letters. You can see the process. It's quite a while since I've done this, since I was shown how to use the other method. I always use that other method because it's so quick and easy. But that's the process. You just trace over the letters, the carbon paper transfers the design onto the surface of the stone, and if I just peel that away, you'll see the effect. Ready to be cut. But I'll now get rid of that and show you another method. The second technique for transferring your design down onto a piece of stone uses a laser print, like the first one, but this time we've got a laser print which is the right way around, and another one which is a mirror image. The first one I just used to work out where on the piece of stone the design will go. I line up a couple of pencil marks to make sure that I know exactly where that goes. I can then take that away, get my mirror image, which I've marked with the same pencil marks, and now that is going to be used to transfer the laser ink down onto the stone. And that's going to be done using cellulose thinners. Laser printer ink is, in the laser printer itself, the toner is made of polyester powder. That is fused with heat onto the piece of paper. The cellulose thinners dissolves the polyester powder and makes it stick onto the surface of the stone and transfers the whole design in one using a roller. So first I tape it down in the right place. And then I'll use a paintbrush just to spread some thinners onto the surface of the stone, drop the design down and use the roller to roll it down, dissolving the ink onto the stone. But I'm going to do that without speaking to you, because I'm going to have my extractor fan running, because the thinners smells horrible. It's awful fumes. Have extraction or do it outside. Try not to breathe in the fumes too much. Okay, enough chat, let's do some carving. So that first line is more or less done. I'm just kind of fiddling now. You get to the point where it's kind of done and you just see a little thing where just a few more strokes might just improve it. And I'm reminded of the old expression, better is the enemy of good. It's already good and you try to make it better and you end up kind of fiddling and not making it any better at all, or break something. So at some point you just have to stop and say, that's okay.